Ever wondered if some of the wildest conspiracy theories might actually be true? What if I told you that people vanished into thin air, governments used secret weapons to eliminate targets, and mysterious creatures once thought to be myths turned out to be very real? Today, we're diving into some shocking stories that went from unbelievable rumors to undeniable reality stories that might just change the way you look at the world around you. Missing Japanese citizens, the North Korean abduction scandal. On a June night in 1978, 22-year-old Youchi, a single mother of two, was finishing her shift at Tokyo's Covert Hollywood when she walked out the front door and vanished. Initially, no one was too worried. Even her manager thought she might have quit. Around that time, rumors circulated about North Korean spies abducting Japanese citizens, but the government dismissed them as wild conspiracy theories. Tragically, Yo's case went cold for nearly a decade with no leads. Then, in November 1987, everything changed. As South Korea prepared for the Olympics in Seoul, a Korean air flight exploded over the Andaman Sea, killing all 115 passengers. This devastating event would eventually shed light on what happened to Youchi. During the investigation, authorities uncovered that two North Korean agents had planted a bomb on the plane during a layover in Abu Dhabi. As the investigation zeroed in on the suspects, one agent took her own life with a cyanide-laced cigarette. However, the other was captured, and during her interrogation, she revealed a shocking connection. She had trained for 6 years for her mission, spending 3 years alongside Yo Taguchi, who had taught her how to blend in as a Japanese citizen. It became clear that Yo wasn't the only victim of North Korea's abduction operations. North Korea's chilling abduction of Japanese citizens. Japan officially recognizes the abduction of 17 of its citizens by North Korea between 1977 and 1983. Disturbingly, many of these kidnappings took place in broad daylight, targeting regular people going about their daily lives. One woman was snatched on her way to a knitting class, 2 others were abducted while vacationing in Europe, and a 13-year-old girl was taken on her walk home from school. Some of these victims were used for identity theft, while others, like Youchi, were forced to teach Japanese language and culture to North Korean spies. After undeniable proof of these kidnappings surfaced, North Korea issued an apology but claimed only 5 of the 17 abductees were still alive. In the following years, North Korea sent what it claimed were the cremated remains of deceased victims back to Japan. However, DNA tests revealed the remains were fake, raising suspicions that more victims might still be alive. Despite this, North Korea sticks to its narrative, claiming only 13 people were kidnapped, and those still alive have been returned to Japan. Shockingly, while Japan confirmed 17 abductions, some believe the real number could be as high as 800. Given the tense political climate, the true scope of these kidnappings may never fully come to light, and North Korea is unlikely to be held accountable for these chilling actions. The CIA's heart attack gun, a real-life spy weapon. In the 1970s, journalist Seymour Hersh published an article in the New York Times accusing the CIA of attempting to assassinate foreign and American politicians who were seen as anti-war dissidents. These accusations triggered a U.S. Senate investigation into the covert actions of the CIA, FBI, and NSA. The resulting reports revealed disturbing activities, such as illegally opening citizens' mail and secretly surveilling Black Power activists. However, one particularly wild claim emerged from this investigation: a conspiracy theory about a CIA-developed gun that could fire poison darts up to 300 feet, killing its target without leaving a trace. Incredibly, this wasn't just a theory, it was real. The poison dart gun was part of a program called MKUltra, aimed at creating biological weapons. In 1975, CIA Director William Colby testified before a Senate committee, revealing that the agency had been working on biological weapons since World War II. The heart attack gun was designed to be nearly silent, with a small battery in the handle. Victims wouldn't feel more than a mosquito bite as the dart, laced with a deadly shellfish toxin, would dissolve in the body, causing a fatal heart attack and leaving only a tiny red mark. When asked if this weapon had been used in real-world operations, Colby claimed it was only tested in experiments, and there were no records of it being deployed. During the investigation, the CIA handed over the infamous heart attack gun to the Senate, and photos of officials examining it looked like scenes straight out of a spy movie. It's chilling to think about the kind of technology that might be in development today, especially considering this was in the 1970s. To this day, the whereabouts of the heart attack gun remain unknown. Rogue waves, a sailor's tall tale turned reality. For centuries, sailors told stories of encountering massive rogue waves, sometimes over 100 feet tall, but their accounts were dismissed by scientists who believed waves couldn't exceed 30 feet. A notable example occurred in 1826 when a French captain and his crew reported seeing a 108-foot wave in the Indian Ocean, but the scientific community laughed off their claims. Despite numerous similar reports from sailors, rogue waves remained regarded as myths or exaggerations due to the lack of evidence. This perception changed in 1995 when the Dropner oil platform off the coast of Norway recorded an 84-foot wave with its sensors, offering the first solid proof of rogue waves' existence. This discovery validated many sailors' stories and raised new questions about how many sailors from past centuries may have encountered these dangerous waves. The tragic reality is that many sailors who faced these massive rogue waves likely didn't survive, and their experiences were lost to the ocean. Since the Dropner wave incident, interest in rogue waves has increased among scientists. It's now estimated that around 10 rogue waves are present at any moment across the world's oceans. Rogue waves are generally defined as waves at least twice the size of the largest waves in an area. Although the exact cause of rogue waves is still being studied, it's believed they occur when wave crests collide at just the right time, forming an enormous wall of water that can sink even large ships and oil rigs. Surprisingly, rogue waves can also form in large lakes. One famous example is the SS Edmund Fitzgerald, a freighter that mysteriously sank in Lake Superior in 1975. Years later, scientists suggested that the ship may have been struck by a series of 3 rogue waves, known as the Three Sisters, where one wave destabilizes the ship, the second crashes over the deck, and the third overwhelms the ship. This theory may explain the sudden disappearance of large ships throughout history, though proving it remains difficult. Poisonous alcohol, a deadly consequence of Prohibition. In January 1920, the 18th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution was ratified, launching the infamous Prohibition era, a 13-year period where the production, sale, and transport of alcohol were made illegal. During this time, the government enforced strict measures to curb alcohol smuggling, which only fueled the rapid growth of the black market. During Prohibition, the mafia thrived in an almost cat-and-mouse game with the government. Authorities would shut down one bar, only for another to pop up a few days later. While this chaotic scene unfolded, disturbing rumors began circulating that the U.S. government was deliberately poisoning alcohol to make people sick. At first, this sounded like a wild conspiracy theory, but things took a dark turn on New Year's Day in 1927, when 41 people died of alcohol poisoning at New York's Bellevue Hospital. Autopsies revealed that many victims had consumed industrial methanol, or wood alcohol, which can be lethal even in small amounts. It turned out that since 1906, long before Prohibition, the government had required companies to denature industrial alcohol to make it undrinkable. However, once Prohibition began, they ordered these companies to add even more toxic chemicals like quinine and methyl alcohol to further discourage drinking. The idea was that black market dealers wouldn't sell alcohol if they knew it was poisoned. What the government didn't account for was the insatiable demand for alcohol at the time and the fact that bootleggers didn't care if their customers lived or died. By the time the federal government relaxed its harsh alcohol policies in December 1933, thousands of Americans had already been poisoned by contaminated alcohol. Gorillas. From myth to reality. Gorillas, once thought to be as mythical as Bigfoot or the Loch Ness Monster, were classified as cryptids for centuries, with no scientific proof of their existence. Early reports of gorillas, like those of other cryptids, such as the chupacabra or the Jersey Devil, were dismissed as wild stories or hoaxes. Western explorers didn't encounter gorillas until the 1500s, when Englishman Andrew Battle, captured off the coast of West Africa, described seeing large, disturbing ape-like creatures near his campfire. His account sparked rumors of bloodthirsty creatures prowling the jungles of Africa, adding to the myth of gorillas. For the next 200 years, the mystery around gorillas deepened as explorers returned to Europe with illustrations of these unknown animals. These depictions, often exaggerated and gifted to royalty, further fueled the idea that gorillas were monstrous and dangerous. For most Europeans, gorillas remained mythical creatures, comparable to Bigfoot, until American naturalist Thomas Savage discovered a gorilla skull during an African expedition in 1847. This was the first scientific evidence that gorillas existed. Savage's discovery led to more expeditions. In 1859, French explorer Paul du Chaillu confirmed the existence of gorillas by bringing them back to Europe. However, du Chaillu described the animals as savage and violent, cementing their fearsome reputation. This myth persisted for years until a baby gorilla, nicknamed Pongo, was brought to Liverpool in the 1870s by German explorers. The playful 2-year-old gorilla charmed the public and showed a different, gentler side of the once feared creature. In 1902, German explorer Robert von Behrenge made history by killing 2 mountain gorillas, leading to further study of the species. Unlike the baby gorillas earlier introduced to the public, the full-grown mountain gorillas von Behrenge brought back were massive. This helped to dispel the myth that gorillas were monstrous creatures and showed the public what a fully grown gorilla looked like for the first time. This transformation of the gorilla from a legendary beast to a familiar animal mirrors the discovery of other creatures once thought to be myths, such as kangaroos, platypuses, giant squids, and Komodo dragons. Many creatures once thought to be mere myths have been proven real, prompting us to wonder how many more undiscovered species might still exist. This curiosity highlights that our grasp of biodiversity and the natural world is still expanding. Moreover, delving into conspiracy theories uncovers truths that are often stranger than fiction. These real-life narratives carry significant implications for individuals and society, emphasizing the need to investigate hidden truths rather than dismiss them outright. The interplay between myth and reality serves as a captivating reminder of how much more there is to explore in our world. Subscribe for more eye-opening stories and uncover the truth behind the most shocking conspiracies that turned out to be real.